technology that is built for your every sense. Aesa Pure from Aesa.
Let's begin with the breaking updates coming in amid the raising trade tariff tensions. The U.S. President Donald Trump has intensified his criticism of India's trade policies, calling the economic relationship between the two countries one-sided. Speaking from the Oval Office, Trump accused India of imposing some of the highest tariffs in the world, suggesting that imbalance had persisted for years. He claimed that while Indian companies benefited from access to the U.S. market, American businesses faced steep trade barriers in return. The President of the United States also argued that under the previous administrations, the U.S. failed to hold accountable the country of India, saying that America wasn't charging them while Indian tariffs remained high.
We get along with India very well, but India has, you have to understand, for many years it was a one-sided relationship. Only now, since I came along, and because of the power that we have with tariffs, India was charging us tremendous tariffs, about the highest in the world. They were about the highest in the world, number one. And we therefore weren't doing much business with India, but they were doing business with us because we weren't charging them. Foolishly, we weren't charging them. So they would send in massive, everything they made, they'd send it in, pour it into our country. Therefore, it wouldn't be made here, which is a negative. But we would not send in anything because they were charging us 100% tariffs. And, I'll give you an example. Harley-Davidson. Harley-Davidson couldn't sell into India. There was a 200% tariff on a motorcycle. So what happens? Harley-Davidson went to India and built a motorcycle plant. And now they don't have to pay tariffs. Same thing as us. So what we're doing is literally thousands of companies are coming into the U.S., car companies, AI, but, more traditionally car companies. We have so many car company factories under construction or being designed right now. And they're coming from China, they're coming from Mexico, I must tell you, and they're coming from Canada, a lot of them coming from Canada. But they're coming into our country because they want to build here. And they want to build here for two reasons. Number one, they'd like to be here. And number two, the tariffs are protecting them. And number three, they want to avoid paying tariffs. When they build their cars here, they don't have any tariffs to pay. When you build here, you don't have any tariffs.
Senior consulting editor Srinjoy joins us on the broadcast with the details of how this could play out. It's been an unpredictable few weeks, Srinjoy, and Donald Trump in his statement goes on to say that, yes, we have a very good relationship with India, in the same breath also going on to again call it a one-sided relationship, saying that the tariffs have been too high from India.
It's already playing out and in a different way, as even today the German foreign minister is here, and as a reaction perhaps to what President Trump has been saying, the German foreign minister is not only meeting S. Jaishankar, the external affairs minister, as you would expect, he is also meeting Piyush Goyal, who is the Union Commerce Minister, before lunch today. Now, why is that? Because India and the European Union, which is also affected by these tariffs, want to do a FTA, a free trade agreement. And that's one of the reasons why the German official is here, the foreign minister is here, because the FTA is also something that the Europeans want. Because yes, India faces a 50% tariff. I agree. The Europeans face 15% tariff, 1.5. But on top of that, on steel and aluminium, they face, like India, a 50% tariff.
Yes.
So the more trade Europe has with India, then naturally America will be left out. And also, when Donald Trump says all this, does he realize that India buys huge amounts of defense equipment from America?
Yes.
Whether it's planes, whether it's helicopters, whether it's artillery, whether it's Predator drones, whether it's other stuff like the Striker, whether it's the P-8I aircraft. Now, all of that adds up to billions and billions of dollars.
But all
now,
of that is left out conveniently, isn't it, Srinjoy? Because every time Donald Trump mentions trade, he also makes a mention of Russia and says that India is buying a lot more defense equipment from Russia. Now, do stay on with us. We have Mr. Pathikrit Payne also joining us on the broadcast. And Mr. Pathikrit, you just heard what Donald Trump has said. Yet again, he has spoken about the relationship with India and he has called it one-sided. He did say, though, we have a good relation with India, but then went on to say that we have had a one-sided relationship for years together because they charge huge tariffs.
But Donald Trump is playing the same old record. Srinjoy was mentioning about defense very rightly.
Yes.
Let me put it. Since 2008, India has ordered more than $28 billion of weapon systems we have bought from United States. If you look at it, apart from the merchandise imports, there are many other things where actually United States makes huge amount of money. For example, the American consulting companies make huge amount of money here. The American banks make a lot of money. The big tech companies make a lot of money. So overall, if you see the Indian students going to United States, actually spend around $25 billion annually. So overall, apart from the merchandise trade, there are $80 billion of revenue that the American companies earn from here, apart from the other companies who are making money out of direct investments in India, including the FMCG companies, including all other kind of companies in the area of automobiles and other sectors. And in spite of that, Trump keeps on, playing the same old broken record, which is not going to help. Even if you look at the entire spectrum of goods which are imported or exported. If you look at it, almost 75 to 80% of the commodities have less than 10% tariff, what India imports from United States. It's only certain areas where there is high tariff. And let me put it this way, for luxury, ultra luxury products and for sectors like dairy, poultry, fisheries, if we are not going to babysit his ego. That is not what India's job is.
Yes.
If America talks about America first, then India would have to take care of India's interest first. It is the livelihood of 150 million people that is at stake.
Yes.
We cannot open up those sectors. Trump is, I don't know who actually, advises Trump, but the kind of things that he is doing is not helping the Indo-U.S. relationship.
Yes.
Either he doesn't know the amount of money the big tech companies make here, on which he's very strict that no digital tax can be imposed, or else he has other agenda in mind because maybe certain food, agro lobbies have, had a deal with him.
Okay.
There cannot be any other reason.
Okay, all right. But, the numbers that you and Srinjoy spoke of, that actually speaks of the relationship that India has had with the United States, built over decades. But truth does not come in the way clearly for Trump because he goes on to say what he wants to say. Thank you for joining us with those details. We're also going to be talking about how there are many within the United States as well who have spoken about how the line that Trump has taken is going to be detrimental for the United States, that it's working against the American people, and yet Trump is not seeing the writing on the wall. There are several red flags that have been raised by people from within his own country, within the United States, who have been speaking about how decades of efforts to build ties with India are now being shredded because of Donald Trump and the policies that he is bringing about. In fact, there are many, including the former U.S. NSA, John Bolton, who have gone on to say that these tariff policies that have been brought by Trump are disastrous, and the only thing to blame for the ties that have been built with India being soured are these disastrous tariff policies. There are many others within the United States as well who are speaking up, going on to say that Trump has pushed Delhi towards Beijing. This works against the interests of the United States. So the former U.S. NSA Jake Sullivan has also spoken up and has said that Trump is sacrificing India because of his family's deals within Pakistan. Now, this exposes what he calls the personal interests of Trump within Pakistan that are to blame for the ties with India being soured, or the price that U.S. is paying by souring ties with India, because as of now the negotiations are still continuing. The kind of statements that are being made by Trump time and again are not helping. And clearly there are voices within the United States that are going on to say that this is unacceptable, that this is going to bring in long-term damage and Trump should stop. Amid that, let's get your reactions from the country as well. The Commerce and Industries Minister, Piyush Goyal, has expressed hope that India will conclude the proposed bilateral trade agreement with the United States by fall or by November this year. He said that a little bit of geopolitical issues overtook the trade matters in the negotiations for the pact between the two countries.
While India will continue to have more and more relations with countries around the world, strengthen our friendships with all countries, as we continue to have newer trading arrangements with the European Union, with Chile, Peru, New Zealand, a second tranche of Australia and Oman. All of these are FTAs on the anvil. Lots have happened, lots more to go. But all of the U.S., we are in dialogue with them for a bilateral trade agreement.
Interesting statement by Piyush Goyal. Couldn't have said it better. Lots have happened and lots more will happen. My colleague Sabyasachi on the broadcast with us. And Sabyasachi, while on one hand talks are continuing with the United States, Piyush Goyal has also admitted that there are many more trade options that are opening up that India is looking at.
Well, that's right. The Commerce and Industry Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, has clearly stated that when it comes to a trade deal, India does not negotiate on a time-based. India negotiate on substance, and it is very much important that when a bilateral trade agreement happens between two countries, there are a mutual benefit for both the countries. Now, Mr. Piyush Goyal has agreed to the fact that there are certain geopolitical tensions that is happening between U.S. and India, but the bilateral trade deal most likely will be completed in the month of November. So far around 5 rounds of talks have taken place between the US and India regarding the trade deal, and the 5th round and the 6th round was scheduled to happen on August 25th. But after US President Donald Trump has imposed a 50% tariff on India, no new dates have come out from the US. On the other hand, the Commerce and Industry Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, has clearly stated that India is a future hub where all the countries are looking forward for investment as well as trade. So clearly a strong message being sent out by the Union Minister regarding the trade deal scenario that is going on, as well as also clearly answers to the question which the opposition time and again has been asking to the Indian government.
Okay, all right, and Piyush Goyal is in thick of all the action and he has spoken about the agreements being reached. Do stay with us, we have more breaking updates now coming in. The German Foreign Minister is meeting the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar as well as the Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal today, and the FTA with Europe is on the agenda in the wake of the 50% tariff being imposed by the United States. Srinjoy Chaudhary continues to stay live with us. And Srinjoy, you made a mention of the German Foreign Minister being in the country today. Take us through what's expected. Very significant visit amid the tariff threat by the United States.
Yes, tariffs is such an issue, and the Germans also face it, the Europeans face it. They have a 15% flat tariff plus 50% on steel and aluminium. So they want an FTA, a free trade agreement with India. And the Europeans, all 27 countries with a population of 350 million people, will benefit from it. Now 350 million is roughly the population of America. So if you have an FTA with Europe, it actually helps. So that is something India will push for because the Germans are the most populous of the 27 nations. They are also the richest. And if India's point of view is understood by the Germans, it will actually help our cause. That's actually one of the most important things on the agenda. Besides that, of course, the Germans want to know what happened vis-a-vis China. How does India look at the Indo-Pacific? How did the meeting with Xi Jinping work out? What about the Russia-Ukraine war? All these issues will be on the agenda. But also, apart from tariffs and trade, there is also the issue of visas. Now, let's not forget that the Trump administration has tightened these visa issues, and there have been problems for Indian students. Now, overall, a large number of students go to America to study. And let's not forget that of the top 10 universities in the world, a minimum of 5 to 7 are American. But these visa problems that are being created is making the Indian student community look elsewhere. And Germany is one country that is pushing for a place for Indian students in their country, because universities like Heidelberg and Göttingen are all very old universities, and they are highly respected. So Europe wants more students in India, from India, and not just Europe, but also Britain and France and Germany and so on. All of them want Indian students. And now, particularly because of these problems that the Americans are creating, a larger number of Indian students could go to Europe, Ireland, Britain, all these other countries. So these issues will be on the agenda. Apart from defense, as you know, India has decided to build 6 German submarines in India. Mazagon Docks will do it. Of course, the preliminary agreements are yet to be done, but a decision in principle has been taken. This involves billions and billions of dollars. It also involves lots of hard work over years. So this will actually help the relationship enormously.
Okay, all right. So a lot expected. Do stay with us. We have more breaking updates now coming in. We have another social media post that has come in from the U.S. President Donald Trump, where he has hit out at Xi Jinping. Now, remember, today is the Victory Day parade in China. But on the day, Donald Trump has taken to social media to remember the sacrifice of the Americans in the Chinese war, going on to say it was U.S. blood that helped secure China's freedom. And he has called for honoring American bravery. And then today, remember, Putin is in China, Kim Jong-un is also in China, and as the leaders are meeting in China, Donald Trump has also gone on to taunt the same and has gone on to say, please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America. He has gone on to mention that the United States was also a very big part of this victory of China, saying that the United States of America gave China a lot of support and blood that helped it secure its freedom. So, Srinjoy, clearly Trump is not very happy, as we've been seeing. He has taken to social media. Rishabh is also on the broadcast with us. And Rishabh, he in fact has made a mention of Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, going on to say that regard should be given to him as they conspire against the United States.
Well, definitely. See, one thing is very clear. Donald Trump, sitting in Washington, is keeping a very, very close eye on what's happening in China. First in Tianjin and now in Beijing. How the victory parade now is shaping up also is very, very important. One good thing about this victory parade that would have given a bit of relief to Donald Trump is India's absence from the victory parade. India has very humbly declined to join the victory parade, given saying that India, A, was not an independent country when this whole war was fought, World War II, and B, we do not have any local stand-eye in this, so we humbly took a step back and did not participate in it. While other countries like Russia, Pakistan, North Korea, and many of the Central Asian countries, Belarus and others, did join the parade, were present there. There were 26 foreign leaders there. And now Donald Trump do understand that this is a grouping, or this is in a way, a group coming together that looks anti-America, anti-dollar, and it might be a difficult task for Washington to steer from here on.
Okay, all right. Thank you for joining us with those details, Rishabh. Thanking Srinjoy as well for joining us with all those inputs. And